Hello friends, I welcome you to the next module of IFRS, which is based on leases. Leases covered under International Accounting Standard 17 and IFRS 16. IFRS 16 is the new standard that will replace IAS 17 and published in January 2016. It is effective from annual period beginning on or after 1st January 2019. So being professionals and accountants, it's very much mandatory for all of us to not only understand IAS 17, but to have the knowledge around IFRS 16, which will be applicable from 1st January 2019. The lease transactions are extremely very common in many industries like airlines, transport, retailers, travel and leisure, telecommunication, even in media, distribution, IT companies. Because these industries takes many a time assets on lease rather than buying. So I believe that you already are well versed with the basic understanding of the concept of lease and the types of lease that we have: operating lease and finance lease, and so on and so forth. So we will touch base more on the critical aspect which is related to leases. No doubt, for the benefit of everyone, we will start with the basic knowledge and then build the understanding on the critical aspect of leases, which will be a really great value addition to your existing knowledge of topic of lease. Let's roll the ball. As per agenda, this is under Part B element of financial statements of the book which IACP has shared with you. IAS 17 is accounting for leases. Herein, we will cover the objective and scope of IAS 17, the definitions, the types of lease, then that will be followed by the lease accounting. Lease accounting in books of lessee and lease accounting in books of lessor. We have extensive disclosures with respect to the lease accounting in lessor and the lease accounting in lessee. And we'll also talk about the concept of sale and leaseback transaction. At last, before we turn up to the Q&A session, I would really highlight the major points related to IFRS 16, which is the new standard. Before we get into the objective and scope of the standard, I would like to highlight that lease is a standard which basically comes up into the picture because of the concept of substance over form. Because initially, before even when IAS 17 was not in picture, whenever any asset is given by anyone to someone else for the purpose of usage, then it is never ever think about to capitalize in the books of the lessee who is utilizing and who has the right to use. But IAS 17 comes up with a target to capitalize the asset in the books of lessee who is having the significant risk and reward from the asset, rather than the asset which used to lie only in the books of lessor rather than in the books of lessee. So this standard is a best example of substance over form. What is the objective of IAS 17? The objective of IAS 17 is to prescribe for the lessee and the lessor the appropriate accounting policies and the disclosure to apply in relation to lease. So here we will talk about and we will see everything related to lease, its accounting, the disclosure requirements, and that too in books of lessee also as well as in books of lessor. As I told you that the standard is based on the concept of substance over form. Because under finance lease, if you see, the title, even if it remains with the lessor, still we book the assets in the books of lessee. And this is how we say that here it is not based on the legal uh, title who is holding the asset, it is based on the right of use of assets, and that is why it is based on substance over form. What is the in scope of IAS 17? So this standard shall be applied in accounting for all leases. Except lease to explore for and use of natural resources, example minerals, oil, gas and similar non-regenerative resources, because we have a special standard which is IFRS 6 on extraction and evacuation of mineral resources. Also, IAS 17 is not applicable on the leasing agreement for certain items like motion picture films, video recordings, plays, manuscripts, patents and copyright, because these are all intangible assets and its accounting is basically covered under IAS 38, which is intangible assets. This standard also not applied as the basis of measurement for certain items. So these items no doubt is classified as and recognized either it is on lease or not, but the measurement is in respective standards. For example, like property which is held by a lessee, that is accounted for an investment property. So if a lessee has a property with a target to invest it further for the capital appreciation and for rental purposes, then the measurement is done under IAS 40, which is investment property. Similarly, if the investment property which is provided by a lessor under the operating lease, so when lessor, while booking the value of the investment property, do the measurement under IAS 40. For the biological asset, which is within the scope of IAS 41, agriculture, is held by the lessee under the finance lease and provided by the lessor under the operating lease, then the measurement is done as per IAS 41 and not as per IAS 17. After understanding of the objective and scope of the standard, let's move on and see certain very important and key definitions related to lease. So, what do you understand by lease? A lease is an agreement whereby the lessor convey to the lessee in return for a payment or the series of payments the right to use an asset for an agreed period of time. So what is important to understand in the definition? We know it's an agreement. The agreement between the two parties wherein the parties are lessor and the lessee, wherein the lessor gives the right to use the asset to the lessee for an agreed payment or a series of payments. So these leases could be of two types, finance lease and operating lease. Wherein finance lease. Finance lease is the lease that transfers substantially all risk and reward which is related to the ownership of an asset from the lessor to the lessee. It's important to understand the definition of finance lease because as per the definition of operating lease, it says that other than finance lease, whatever is considered as operating lease. So, in finance lease, if we understand, the definition says to substantially all risk and reward which is related to the ownership of an asset, if it has been transferred from the lessor to the lessee, then that will be considered as finance lease. So when we talk about this risk here, guys, so we specially means the risk of ownership. And the rewards are represented by the expectation of the profitable operation over the asset economic life. So the classification of this as a finance lease and operating lease is made at the inception of the lease, or any revised agreement should be treated as a new agreement over its term. So that's why it's very important to understand not only a lease agreement, but whether it is a finance lease and an operating lease. In case of finance lease, one more important point again I would like to highlight, there is especially mentioned that even if the title may or may not eventually be transferred, we will not consider only legal title as the basis of decision making. The decision is based on the risk and reward which is incidental to the ownership of the asset. Let's move and see certain other important definitions, which is one is the inception of the lease. So herein we need to know what is the date on which the lease has been started. So inception of the lease is earlier of the date of the lease agreement and the date of the commitment by the parties to the principal provision of the lease. So either the parties, lessor and the lessee, the date on which they enter into agreement will be the inception of the lease. And even if they have not entered into an agreement, but they are committed by the provision of the lease or the principal provision, then that date also can be the inception of the lease. Why it's important to know, this definition of inception of the lease? Because at this date, a lease is classified either as a finance lease and operating lease, and in the case of finance lease, the amount which needs to be recognized at the commencement of the lease term are determined. So this amount which determined or recognized, it means that will be reflected in the financial statement of the lessee on the date of the commencement of the lease. So what is the commencement of the lease term? The commencement of the lease term is the date from which the lessee is entitled to exercise its right to the use of lease assets. So this is the date on which the lessee got the right to use the asset. It is the date of initial recognition of the lease. That is, the recognition of the assets, liabilities, income, expenses, which is resulting from the lease as appropriate. So, just think about that, how a lessee needs to initially recognize a lease. For a lessee, it is an asset on one hand and with the same amount a liability on the other hand, which eventually on the asset the lessee will charge depreciation, and the liability which is standing in the book, it will be charged off to the P&L over the period of the lease term. Moving to the next definition, which is minimum lease payment. So MLP, the abbreviation for minimum lease payment is very often used as MLP. MLP are the payments over the lease term that the lessee is or can be required to make together with, for a lessee, any amount guaranteed by the lessee or the party related to lessee, or for a lessor, any residual value which is guaranteed by the lessor, by the lessee, a party related to lessee, or a third party which is even if unrelated to the lessor, but that is significantly capable of discharging the obligation under the guarantee. It is very important to understand what is minimum lease payment, because this is the basis of the measurement in case of lease agreement. So either for the lessee and the lessor, what is MLP? MLP is actually the sum of the aggregate of all the payments which is made by the lessee over the lease term. Then we add from the lessee point of view any amount which lessee guarantee to the lessor or any party related to the lessee guarantee to the lessor. From lessor point of view, till this extent it is same. It is no doubt the payment which is made by the lessee over the period of the lease term. It also includes the residual guaranteed value by the lessee or any party related to lessee, and in addition, it could be the case that any third party which is not related to the lessor has the capability of discharging the obligation under the guarantee, then that also becomes a part of minimum lease payment. So you will see this minimum lease payment calculation is very important either for the finance lease and for the operating lease. And it is based on, since it is a period of the lease which is generally more than a year, which is maybe 5 years lease, 10-year lease, 20 years lease, and so on and so forth. So we need to apply a discounting factor when we do the calculation of minimum lease payment. And we will shortly cover that. The important note has been given over here that for the minimum lease payment calculation, we exclude contingent rent, cost of services and taxes to be paid and reimbursement to the lessor, because these are the normal costs. These are charged to the P&L as and when they arise. It says that it excludes contingent rent. So very important to note down that what is this contingent rent? Contingent rent will not only cover the definition, but I would like to mention that this contingent rent is based on some future amount or future base. And since it is based on the future, without any and it's not fixed at all, and that's the reason that they exclude it from the minimum lease payment. And as for the accounting of this contingent rent, it has been mentioned that as and when this rent has been paid by the lessee to the lessor, then accordingly at that particular time only they hit to their profit and loss account. So this contingent rent is the portion of the lease payment that is not fixed in amount but is based on the future amount of a factor that changes other than with the passage of time. So, for example, the rent which is based on the percentage of future sales, the rent which is based on the amount of future use. Here the lease rent is based on the future price indexes or future market prices of interest, etc. So whenever the price or any amount which is based on the future, either sales, use, indexes and rate of interest, then that comes under the contingent rent. And this is excluded from the minimum lease payment calculation. Now, as I just told you that for the calculation of MLP, we need to apply the discount rate, and that is technically covered under the definition, which is interest rate implicit in the asset. So what is interest rate implicit in the asset? It is actually the discount rate that needs to be used at the inception of the lease and lead it to cause the aggregate present value of the MLPs and unguaranteed residual value equal to the sum of the fair value of the lease asset and any initial direct cost of the lessor. So as a mathematical equation, if you also see, this is on one hand we have MLP and the unguaranteed residual value, which is equal to the fair value of the lease asset and any directly attributable cost. So whatever the rate comes up at which the discounting needs to be done, that rate is called as interest rate, which is implicit in the lease. Generally, this in examinations or in general scenario, this is given to you, or otherwise this is the interest rate, which can be the rate of borrowing. After understanding of the objective, scope and definitions related to lease, let's move on to the classification. So a lease is classified, as I told you, in two categories, either as a finance lease and operating lease. And very simple, that finance lease is if it is transferred the substantially all the risk and reward which is incidental to the ownership. On the other hand, a lease is classified as operating lease if it does not transfer substantially all the risk and reward which is incidental to the ownership. Let's see certain important examples which help you to understand that yes, this could be a type of finance lease, because as the definition also says that of the operating lease, that whatever is not the finance lease, the rest are all operating lease. So in case if there is a transfer of ownership by the end of lease term, then that's an example of finance lease. If the purchaser or the lessee has the option to buy the asset, or we can say bargain purchase, at any time or at the end of the lease term, then that is also another example of finance lease. Because if the lessee has the option to purchase the asset at a price which is expected to be significantly or lower than the fair value at the date of option, then it is very certain that the lessee will exercise that option. And that's why we say that if we see the substance over the form, this asset eventually gonna be in the books of lessee only, and that's why the standard says that this should be capitalized in the books of lessee. And further, if the lease term for which at the inception, when the asset has been given to the lessee, if the lease term is for the major part of the economic life of the asset, even if the title has not been transferred, that is another example of finance lease. If the present value of the minimum lease payment, which calculated on the basis of interest rate implicit in the lease, and if it is equal to the asset fair value, then also it is a finance lease. Because in this case, if you see, the lessee is paying amount which is as good as the asset fair value. So it means the target is that eventually the asset should be of the lessee rather than with the lessor. Similarly, if the lease is in such a form that lessee can use them without a major modification. On the other hand, we can also say if the leased asset is of a specialized nature that only the lessee can use them without any modification being made, then that is also a finance lease rather than an operating lease. In all these examples, if you understand, it is again and again, explaining that in all these types, the significant risk and reward has been transferred to the lessee, and that's why these examples talks about that related to finance lease, wherein assets should be reflected in the books of lessee. Now moves to the accounting. First of all, let's see lease accounting in books of lessee, and that too in case of finance lease. How do we do the initial recognition and measurement? So a lessee needs to recognize initially the asset as a recognition of lease as an asset on one hand, and the liability on the other hand. And how we calculate this? How do the measurement? Measurement is the lower of the fair value or the present value of minimum lease payment. There are important notes related to it that the discount rate which needs to be used is calculated in calculation of present value of MLP. Is the interest rate which is implicit in the lease, if that is practicably determinable, and if not, then lessee incremental borrowing cost can be used. And the other note is that any indirect, any direct cost, any initial direct cost of the lease are also added to the amount of asset. After initial recognition at the reporting period, how these accounting need to be done in books of lessee, and that is called a subsequent measurement. So subsequently, a lessee should apportion this minimum lease payment between the finance charges and the reduction of the outstanding liability. So it is like one hand, this will be the finance charge which is as good as the interest cost, and on the other hand, it is the reduction of the outstanding liability which need to be taken into account. There are certain important notes over here, which is like contingent rent. Contingent rent, which I talked about, should be charged as an expense in the period when the contingent rent payment is made. So I also initially told you at the time of the definition of contingent rent, since this is based on the future, The contingent rent should be charged as an expense in the period in which they are incurred. Since there is an asset in the books of lessee, so depreciation shall be charged and calculated in accordance with respective IAS